time for another leg of the tour following the delivery missions at my Palawan scenery. The next delivery we have to make is at Ilok Island, XRPIL. Although on the way there, we've had a report of a missing person. So we're going to try and help out the search and rescue people if we can, as we will be passing very close to the search area. We'll get airborne first, and I'll tell you a bit more about it after that once we've taken off and we're on our way. I think this should be fine. Yeah, for the amount of runway we need. Yeah, to be honest, I'm sure we could have taken off from the intersection where we came out onto the runway. The islander doesn't need huge amounts of space, so yeah, let's go for it. We're away. Yes, I'm sure we would have been fine from the intersection. Yeah, never mind, all good. We are flying. Flying just like President Bumberg's Swedish look-alike, who, after she'd been having a sailing holiday which ended in lots of engine-driven military boats and helicopters arriving to pick her up, and then flying after she got on an aeroplane to France. Yeah, I suppose it's just lucky that she had already fixed climate change, or all of that petrol, diesel and jet A1 which was used because of her, well, it would have been quite bad, wouldn't it? Maybe she should try going to Moscow next time. I'd definitely like to see how that goes for her. Yeah, but back to Palawan, and as I mentioned earlier, we will be taking part in a search and rescue operation today. There was a man who we do know is the owner of one of those NOAA floating safety beds to keep you safe in case your house is pushed into the sea in the middle of the night. Well, this morning his neighbours found that his entire house was missing. So presumably was pushed into the sea in the middle of the night, and those are the people who called the emergency services. Now hopefully he is still alive, floating on his bed, which he should be, as it was specifically designed for when your house gets pushed into the sea in the middle of the night. So yeah, we'll go and have a look and see if we can spot him. Winds, tides, that means our flight path is fairly close to the area where the emergency services suspect that he may be. So if we can help out, then that would be great, wouldn't it? But anyway, I shouldn't get hungry today if the search does take some time, because I've got one of those President Bumberg sausages on a stick. It's those same things where President Bumberg herself was advertising them on President Bumberg's TV station. The brand new pork sword. It's not only delicious but also good for you too, because as a top scientist who was appointed by General Bumberg explained in the advert, you just need to think about this. The new pork sword is 100% processed meat, and processed food is specifically processed to be eaten. Whereas organic food, that's just some crap that people find lying around in the ground somewhere. So General Bumberg's pork sword is clearly the healthy alternative out of those two. Now I've had that explained to me by a top scientist, I'm certainly going to keep away from fresh food and especially organic stuff from now on, and stick to things that are better for me. It's another great example about having a ruler like General Bumberg, as she looks after the health of us little people of Palawan. It's the same as like some countries in the world. Because of money, they don't have access to proper health care, whereas here in Palawan, once we pay our annual fee, all visits to the hospitals and doctors and dentists, they're all totally free. Obviously you do need to pay for any treatment you have, and consultations, or to even talk to a medical person, but it is totally free to go there. It's lovely knowing our president is protecting us like that. They're getting closer to the search area now, so it's definitely better to be low to the ground or water, as things might not always be visible at higher altitudes. Yeah, I know a floating safety bed, it is quite brightly coloured, but they're not that big, so they can be hard to spot sometimes. Hopefully we'll be okay today though, and we do find the poor guy who's had his house pushed into the sea in the middle of the night. I think he's probably around here somewhere. Trying to keep a lookout, and oh, there he is, we got him. Oh, that's great news. Yeah, I'll text the coordinates to the emergency services, and they can send out a news crew in a helicopter to film the guy, and then maybe a rowing boat with some rescuers to pick him up a little bit later. But for us, onwards to Ilok Island now, which is that one just over there. Yeah, it's a dirt runway, and not the most straightforward landing ever, but it's not too bad. Although the easier option would actually be to bring an amphibian, as there's plenty of water in the bay to land on, and a pathway from the water's edge up to the runway. So you could taxi from the coast up to the apron that way if you wanted to. We don't have that option obviously, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Visibility's good, no major weather or wind, so runway landing shouldn't pose us too many problems. Yeah, and of course coming in this way over the bay, we'll get to fly past the house where Nathaniel lives. Yeah, he recently made a discovery that whenever his wife is arguing with him at home, he simply takes all of his clothes off, and she then immediately complains that she's got a headache and goes straight to sleep. Yeah, there's also the house where Angelo lives as well, and last night he gathered his 5 children and got them to have a vote on what movie they were going to watch on TV and what toppings they were going to have on the pizza they were going to order. So when the kids finally did make a decision, Angelo totally ignored it and chose whatever movie and pizza he wanted anyway, as he was the one with the money, and that's how democracy works these days. Yeah, I think they ended up watching the General Bumberg movie channel on General Bumberg's TV station, and Angelo went for that recently released film. It's the second part of President Bumberg's remake of that terrible film series which fortunately nobody needs to watch anymore, as the new film series, The General of the Rings, is so much better. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself when I get some time, as the ending from the first movie was quite a cliffhanger. Watching Frodo Bumberg riding off on his Vespa scooter, holding the donut of power in the air. Can't wait to see what happens next. Yeah, so this is the bay where you could land a float plane. If you were planning on that, I'd suggest a quick flyover first to make sure there are no obstructions, such as a NOAA floating safety bed to keep you safe in case your house is pushed into the sea in the middle of the night. The bay does seem clear at the moment though, but doesn't really matter to us anyway. We need to make a little turn to the right to get lined up with the runway. I think we're doing okay. Yeah, that's working. Ooh, little bounce. Think we may have touched down slightly early on the amphibian taxiway. Yeah, but yeah, just a fraction early on touchdown, wasn't it? Looks like I'll be getting a touchdown was almost tolerable in my logbook. Yeah, never mind, we're all safe, so let's go and park up here and deliver some more of our Museum of Shiny Knobs cargo. That will do. Yeah, so not a bad day. Nothing broken or fell off the aeroplane. Helped rescue someone who had his house pushed into the sea in the middle of the night. And cargo delivered. So, see you next time when hopefully we'll have an equally good day.